I'm going to try to make a pocket with some, I used some sequins, um, sequins, uh, white sequins, some star sequins, some lovely those static little gold beads, and some tiny snowflakes that I put in it was a 4x6, um, it was a 4x6 photo sleeve, and I've cut it off. I'm going to cut it off by using the photo fuse and sealing it, and then making a shaker box on one side and a just a place so you can put a picture. I'm trying to get this without moving that thing. So I can get a shaker box on this side and a photo album or photo part on this side. So I kind of guesstimating how I want it done, and I'm going to cut it off at the bottom, so the only open end will be this small end right here for a small picture, and then I'm going to seal across on these beads once I get this done. So I'm going to put this hopefully on a straight line, and right here, and I'm gonna, it's hard to see where to put your paper. I think that looks, we'll see how straight that is. And then I hope this is hot enough, because I didn't. And I'm just gonna run it through this photo fuse. And not sure if you can see it. Just running this heat tool, over the edge of it, and then we'll see. So it did a pretty good job. It sealed it right there. So then I'll cut part of this off, and now that I have that in there, I'll have a little more room to let this flow around. And I need to measure over 2 3/4 inches. The hard part's getting those little beads to stay there, to get it to so I can close it off and they won't come over there. So I'm going to measure 2 3/4 inches from this outside edge to right here, and hopefully this will mark enough to see it. Not really. Let me get a pin. I don't know how I'll get it off, but I can almost see it right there. So I'm going to turn it this way and shake all those beads down in the bottom and put it in there. And I am by no means an expert on this, just kind of playing with it. So it needs to go right here. And right there. So I'm going to hold it there and start at the bottom of this where I did a while ago, and just go up to the other cut heat mark where it originally was, and yeah, did that. So now we have a little shaker box. I probably could have put more in there, but it's okay. So it'll I don't want it too thick because of the thickness of the album. So this I will cut off right here. And then I already have the holes punched on it or in it, but the holes are just to kind of guide me, and I'm going to put some washi tape over some little snowflakes, some washi tape over these where I punched these 4 holes. I'm going to put it on one side and then repunch them so that they'll fit in the book. If I can find the start, there it is, a little washi tape. So I'm just going to put on right here. Right off. And leave it just a little bit because I'm going to hold them together. And let me punch those holes before I forget, because I will. Punching through this plastic is not particularly fun. And this is a 1/4 inch hole punch. We are. Our memory keeper says quit making so many of their corner punches and things that we have. It's really sad because I like them. Okay, so now we have punched. Sorry, I did that all off camera, but I'm just punching holes. And there we go. So I have the 4 holes punched, you can see, and I'm going to put the washi tape on the other side of it to give it a little more stability, and then cut it. Just cut it off here and cut it off on this side. And some of it I didn't get straight, so I'm going to trim that right here. I like to do washi tape because you can just kind of make it do what you want it to. This is just going to be the hinge for to put that in. And we can trim it. And again, we're going to punch the holes, as you can see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And eventually all that loose stuff will kind of go out. And then I'm just going to stick this. It's going to go this way, I think. Stick this in here. I don't know, whichever way it's going to go. It's going to be pretty snug, so I may have to, I'm not going to trim it. I want it to stay on there. So this is about a 3 and probably 3/8 inch space that you're going to have to work with to get your pictures in there. And so then it's just a little checker box on one side, and it still stays pretty flat, which makes me happy. And then I'm going to cut this off. You want to use a sharp cutter because for some reason it just kind of doesn't like that plastic. So I'm going to put this in here and just... Okay, I cut the end of that off, and you can see it right there. I just used my cutter and cut it, and I left a really small border. I don't know that you have to, and it's not 100% perfect, but it's cute. And this is the little stuff on this side, and this is a... you can leave it a little bigger because I had to cut mine down, but you can get a small picture in there, and it has it on the back. And this is the little bees washi tape that I put over the original whatever you call it, ring things where it was punched, and I had to repunch my own. So I punched them with without any washi tape, and then I'd punch it each time. There's 2 things of washi tape over it, so it'll hold it, and so it'll just fit right in here. And you have one little shaker box on that side. Okay, so now we're going to start on some of these pages. Let's see, do the first one. I have them numbered. There's 8 pages. Some of them are pretty fast, and let me get them all together, and I'll be right back. All right, we are going to start with page 1, and all these are going to have the rounded edge at the bottom, so you know which way, since it's going to open this way, and you want it to flip up. So you're going to have to be aware of how you put your pages on. This is going to be the front page, and I cut this as 4 1/8 across by 6 7/8, and then I cut another piece that was 6 7/8 by probably about 4 inches. I scored a 1/2 inch on the top like this, and I put score tape on the inside back of this where the stripes are, and then I just folded it over to make a flap and border punched along the edge like that. So I had to do it in advance because I have to trim the edges, and I wanted this on the inside so that it wouldn't show. So I'm going to put, because this one has a flap, I'm going to put score tape on this part and just on the top edge of it, so it will stick really good since it's flipping up and down. And then the rest I'm going to use the ATG on. Just ran it off of there. And oops. I'm going to get all these pages covered and some of the embellishments, and then we can go back and add some more chipboard embellishments to it. And I think I need to ink that one. I thought I inked them all, but I guess I didn't. I'll probably have to go back. I'm going to ink the top of it because I'll have to do it once I get the trimmings off of it. And just put it there. So we're going to put it just right here on the very top, line up one edge. Doesn't really matter which one. And make sure it's down. Really good. And then we have to trim off the around these corners, just with the X-Acto knife. I'm going to trim this off, and then we'll go back and trim off the rest of this that's hanging over. So you have just a hair that's hanging over. This is on the flap, and it's just as easy to cut it with some scissors than to try to use the knife on it. So now we have this, and if we need to sand, we can. And you're going to have to punch your holes on each side. And it probably would be better if I had taken my score tape off on the top. I was wondering why it was so lumpy. It's Monday. I shouldn't be trying to accomplish anything on Monday, but that's okay. I can pull it out of there. It's coming out. Come on. It's stuck down in there. There. It makes a difference right there. Okay. So, once again, you want to get it sealed down really good. And punch your holes. You're going to have to punch through both surfaces because obviously it has to open somehow. Okay. Just hate it when they don't come out. You've got glue in them. I probably need to clean this thing out really good so that it has glue. Okay, so we have this one, and I'm going to ink it. Ugh. Glue stuff. Ink it right quick. Just a little. And just going to ink it enough to get a little bit done. Then you can go back and pick what you want. So there's the first page. One. Then we're going to flip it over. So it's going to go, you want to flip it up because that's where if you have a patterned paper, that's obviously how it's going to go on. So it would be just like this. We're going to put, whoops, I cut this out of a 4x6, so we're going to put this bird on here, and I'm just going to put it here. So you can use this as a pocket or just a flap to hold a picture once you get it on. I'm going to go ahead and put that on so I can trim it. And I did, since I pre-made all these, I did label my pages, the ones I wanted in what order, so I wouldn't have just this wad of paper. And I put one piece of number one on the one chipboard and so on. Doesn't really matter because you're not going to be, almost did it on the wrong side. So it's going to be this way. There we go, little bird. It's hard when you're not in the album or for me it's hard. I'm going to pull it up a little because I want to ink some of it, and I have some glue. Just a little. If I don't ink it now, it'll be forgotten. And I'm going to start at the bottom because I don't want to cut. I don't want to cut the bottom off. We want all the bird on there. Okay. So then I can just trim this off, which is the leftover branch. And now I'm just going to use score tape on that. I mean, score tape. I'm just going to use ATG or adhesive on this. Just want to make sure you get your corners covered really good. And if they're not, just go back and add some, with the fine line, some Scotch quick dry adhesive to make sure your corners stay down. Nothing worse than loose corners. So this is going to be, again, I always check. I'm going to flip this up and put it on the top of this. I always have to think. And flip it up, and I want it just like this. Because I've been known to put them on the wrong side out, or upside down, or whatever that's called. So we're gonna, and you want to especially make sure on your corners like this, because we're having to trim it as we go instead of already having pre-cut corners. I probably should have lined that one up, but I didn't. So cut some of that off. So again, this is, punch my holes, and I'm going to hope he's right. I'm not flipping that. I always have this horror of putting them upside down, which is okay if you move it before you punch your holes. My husband's running the disposal downstairs. And I think this needs a little trim right here. All right. And I've tried cutting the corner rounder, and her corners are just a different shape, and it just doesn't fit right or something. I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna ink this a little bit. I know I get right off the camera. Page 1. And this is page 2. And slide him under there a little bit.